Beatrice mentioned, my name's Sam. I'm 29 years old. I live in Berkeley, California. I'm a second gen. I live in a church house. I live with 15 roommates. Most of them are church members. Sometimes there's 30 people living in our house at any given time. I love to surf. I love to play volleyball. I'm also a twin. I have a twin sister. She's 2 minutes older than me. She's like my best friend in my life. So I love being here. And the reason why Alex invited me is because we met at an event called Project Phoenix. And so for anyone that doesn't know what that is, Project Phoenix is a 3-day experience where a team flies into a community, a church community, and we invite first and second gen to come together, and we train them how to listen and to share differently. And we've noticed that when we bring people together and we create the space for them just to see and hear each other, really magical things happen. And so we just did this event in London a few weeks ago. How many of you guys were at that event in London? Benny, okay. Beatrice. So just 3 of you guys, 4? Okay, cool. I love your comments in the chat as well. Cool. So yeah, I felt called today to share about kind of how Project Phoenix got started and how I got involved with intergenerational relationships, and then also share about a story with my mom and what our relationship has kind of evolved into over the last 29 years of my life. Would that be okay to share about that? Okay, cool. Okay, so rewind, I'm 24 years old. I'm a senior in college. I'm studying psychology. And I'm like hating school. I'm like ready to be out of it. I want nothing to do with it. And I'm taking all these classes, and I'm also in a super intensive coaching program. It's 7 months, 8 hours a week. And how this program is designed is around listening. And so for 7 months, we're training ourselves how to be the type of people that can listen to someone and alter what's possible for them in a conversation. And so throughout my life, I'm just practicing listening wherever I can, here and there, with anyone I can have a conversation with. And my mom, she's American, and she's the kind of person, you'll hear me share more about her, but she's like a hardcore church member. She's like a God warrior. She's a prayer warrior. She's the kind of mom who like sits in the corner of the room and is like sobbing while she's like praying for the providence. And, you know, it's just like pretty casual now because she's doing it all the time. And she's always on these like national prayer calls, like praying for what's possible. And she has her team of prayer warriors. And throughout the course of my life, I'm always hearing about her best friend. And her best friend, his name is Mike. And Mike Smith, he's this like super tall, bald guy, first gen, married to a Korean woman. And they're like always on the phone, gabbing, talking about the providence, talking about what they're doing. And one day, out of the blue, I get a call from Mike Smith. And I pick up my phone and I say, "Hey, who's this?" And he says, "It's Mike Smith." And I say, "Oh, I've heard a lot about you." And he's like, "Yeah, I've heard a lot about you too." And he says, "Your mom has been telling me about all the kind of coaching training that you've been doing in the last year. And I'm just kind of curious about it." And he was like, "Would you be willing to share with me about what you're learning?" And in that moment, guys, I saw something. And I saw my filter about first gen. And what I saw like right there in the conversation was like how I view first gen. And like what showed up right when he was like, "Can you talk to me about your life?" was like, this guy is not going to get it. Like first gen are just like oblivious. They're sometimes like dumb. They don't know how to listen. This guy's just like not going to get what I have to say. And if I were to be straight with myself, like that's really how I related to all first gen. Like they just don't get second gen. And so because I was in this particular kind of coaching program, I immediately saw like my whole view about him in the moment that our conversation started. And I had this opportunity just to set it aside. And so I put that all aside and I got really curious about him. And I said, Uncle Mike, what's important to you? And I just stopped talking. And he just started to share with me all about his life and his world. And he shared with me about his 4 kids who are no longer in the church anymore, and how sad it's been for him to, invest his whole life into the church and not see his kids follow that path. And he started telling me about his wife and his grandchildren. And I started to share about my life. And I shared about my dad and how for most of my life, I felt like I didn't really have a real relationship with him for about 10 years. And what that was like for me and the kind of healing journey that we've been on together. And, we just kept going, kept talking and listening. And by the end of the conversation, we were so moved by each other, like so connected. And right before we were, and I said, I feel like there's been so much turbulence in our movement. You guys know about this, but in the American movement, there were a lot of like leadership issues, a lot of like withholding and kind of not telling the truth and secrets that were being kept in church leadership. And it caused a lot of anger and feelings of like betrayal and resentment for a lot of people in my age group. People who are like, I don't want anything to do with this church anymore. And I felt like parents really didn't have any sort of space to talk about like what it's really been like for them to go through all of this, to watch their children be leaving and talk about their feelings, to talk about what's really going on. So I said, Uncle Mike, I really want to take care of our movement, and I want to do something that we've never done before. Can we do that? And he was like, yeah, let's do something. Let's do it. So I gathered all of my friends, all my homies, like second gen coaches who care about the movement, like 7 of them. And he gathered all his homies, like all these like older, white guys who have been on the front lines of the movement their whole life, like worked directly with true parents. And we met up in a living room for 3 days. We all flew together. We met up in a living room and we're like, what is going to happen? And we had no idea, but we just knew that we wanted to do something for our movement. Guys, over the course of 3 days, we just had the craziest fights. It was like fighting for 3 days. It was like a slugfest. It was like a battle trying to understand the other generation. And the first gen were like, God's hope for America. Like, America is our only hope. Like, why don't you guys get that? God's hope, And the second gen were like so grossed out by that. We were like, we don't effing care about God's hope. Like, you guys have no idea what it's like to be us, just like fighting back and forth, trying to understand what was important. There was like legit screaming, there was yelling, there was crying in this living room for 3 days. And by the end of it, something really powerful happened, which is like we just got moved by each other. We really like listened to each other for the first time. And I really saw how much first gen want to contribute to me. I really saw how much they want me to like receive from them, like their wisdom and their experiences. And I got how much I've been unwilling to receive that from them. And by the end of this conversation that we had, we said we need to take this living room experience out into the world. And so we kind of created this thing called Project Phoenix. And we had our first event in Las Vegas, and there was like 120 people there, and it was like our beta test experience. And over the last 5 years, that has kind of evolved into what it is today. I think we've done 16 events. We have 25 volunteer staff members. And we just did one in France, London, all over the United States, a few times in Germany. And yeah, what I'm really clear about, or what I want to communicate, is I'm really clear that hundreds of lives have been impacted by Project Phoenix. You know, there have been parents who have come up to me and said, my child is speaking to me again because of this event. Or my child shared with me this thing that they never thought they could share because of, you know, this event. Like, families are being connected again. And I'm also really clear about that. That was not going to happen. Like, none of it was going to happen if I was willing to be super like right about my point of view about first gen just being dumb and like not getting it. Like, it all happened in that one conversation with Uncle Mike. And so, you know, this has kind of been a theme for me in my life, like really practicing listening to everyone, but also really like first gen, my parents. And also, I just want to check in with my time. How am I doing on time, Alex? Keep going. Yeah. Is everyone following? I just want to check in. Is everyone like with me? Yeah, kind of, sort of. Yes, head nods. Okay. I wanted to share about my mom. So, you know, all of us have moms, right? And you have like your Japanese moms, and you have your British moms, and your Italian moms, and your African moms. And I had something called a Jewish mom. Do you guys know what that is? Anyone know what that means? Like, has a reference for it? Jan, I see you. Kinda, yeah. Yeah, so like a Jewish mom, like how I define that is like willing to do whatever it takes to win. Like whatever it takes. Like for her children to win, for God to win, for people to win, like whatever it takes. Just to give you a description of how my mom looks. She's about 5'2". I know that's like, it's pretty short. She wears these like bright pink Crocs, like those rubber sandals, like super flaming pink Crocs. And her favorite go-to outfit, she wears these, I call it a schmata. It's like a big, unform-fitting dress, like pajamas, basically. And she like wears them to the grocery store. She wears them outside. She wears them to sporting events, like her Crocs, her dresses. And on the outside, she appears super sweet, super loving. She'd come up to you if she saw you at an event. She'd be like, hey, what's your name? Tell me about your life. But on the inside, guys, she's like a lion. She's like this like powerful force of nature, unstoppable, right? And this showed up in my life in many different ways. Do you guys know about those claw machines? Like where you enter quarters and you like try to win stuffed animals? Yeah. So in my childhood, my mom and I, whenever we would see a claw machine together, she'd stand me in front of the claw machine and she'd give me like 30 quarters, and she'd put the quarters in and she'd have me play the claw machine until I beat it. And she'd say to me, Sammy, you're going to have victory over this claw machine. You're not going to stop playing until you beat this claw machine. And so she really like trained me to become like unstoppable. Like, you're going to have victory. Those are her words. Also, when I was in 8th grade, like I was 13 years old, it was Halloween. Do you guys do Halloween in Europe? Do you guys go trick-or-treating? Sort of, kind of. Okay. So in America, it's huge. Like, we try to get as much candy as we can. We beg strangers, like, and I was going on to Halloween. All the BCs were coming to my house. All the guys, all my friends were coming to my house. It was a safe neighborhood. And this was during the time where parents in our movement were spraying Tootsie Rolls with holy wine. Do you guys know about this? Yes? Yes, you guys get it? So my mom was one of those moms who was like trying to bless every human around her by spraying Tootsie Rolls with holy wine and then giving it out secretly at school events, any chance she could to like bless everyone, right? So holy wine and cakes, yep, too relatable, yep. So guys, I'm about to walk out the door trick-or-treating with like 10 of my friends, DCs. And my mom stops me at the door and she says, Sammy, in order for you to go trick-or-treating, you have to give out holy wine Tootsie Rolls to every single door in the neighborhood. Like you have to. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you have to bless the entire neighborhood or else you cannot go. And for me, I just felt like I had no choice in that moment. She was like, take this bag. Guys, inside this janky plastic bag were these individual Tootsie Rolls in miniature bags with Bible quotes in them, like cut Bible quotes, like super scrappy, super silly. And I took this plastic bag into every single door that I rang to ask for candy. I gave them a Tootsie Roll with a Bible quote in it. And it was so hilarious because every single person loved it. Everyone was so into it. They're like so moved by this act of like the Tootsie Roll, right? So I hand out this entire bag around my whole neighborhood and I come back home and my mom is like all smug. Like she's all like, told you so. Like I told you everyone would love it, right? And so that was the kind of mom that I've had like growing up, like just like ruthless, like doing whatever it takes to like, you know, get her way, to make things happen, to love on people. And you know, also for me, it's been challenging to have that kind of mom. You know, one of my biggest complaints about my mom in my life is that she's dominating and controlling to me. I don't know if anyone else relates to that, having like a dominating or controlling mom. Yeah, okay. I don't know how many of you guys know this about me or have seen me on social media at all, but I identify as queer, meaning I'm attracted to men. I date men. You know, I want to be with a man someday potentially. And, you know, you could imagine what it's been like for me to grow up in the Unification Church with that going on. Like it's really been my biggest life struggle to try and navigate and figure out my own truth and my identity and my sexuality and what does God say about that? And, you know, what do I do? And it's been a huge journey for me and my mom to navigate her expectations for me with following my own soul, following my own heart, following my own experiences. And recently I went to go visit my mom. She lives in Mississippi. And we were sitting on the bed together, her bed in her bedroom. We were laying down and she said, Sammy, can I have a conversation with you? And I said, yeah, Mom, sure. And she said to me, Sammy, I think it's your mission in your life to overcome your sexuality. And it's your mission to marry a woman. And in that moment, like I really had a choice to be like totally triggered by that and feeling like my mom still doesn't get me, she still doesn't understand, or just practice listening to her. And in that moment, I just got what she said. And I said, Mom, I really hear that you want me to be happy. And for you, I wouldn't be happy if I was with a man. And I get that you not only want me to be happy, but like eternally happy. And she was like, yeah, I really want you to be eternally happy. And I said, Mom, can I ask you a question? And she said, yeah. And I said, Mom, what would you make it mean about you if I married a man? And she said, I'd make it mean that I failed as a parent. And I said, Mom, what would you make it mean about you if you failed as a parent? And she said, I'd make it mean that I was unworthy of God's love. Like I did it wrong, like I failed my mission. And I said, Mom, I want you to know that I feel so loved by you, like so loved by you. And I don't really feel unconditionally loved by you. Like you still need me to change myself in order to make you feel worthy of God's love. And that feels like that's all about you. And she sat with that. And, we kept talking and we just kept sharing like whatever was unsaid. And we were complete with the conversation. And, when I look at my own life, guys, like I can see that I've been the exact same way with my mom in my life. Like for so many years, I've wanted my mom to tell me, like, I trust you, Sammy. I accept you fully for who you are. Like, I approve of you. And she's never said that to me. Like, never. And I made her so wrong for it. And, I spent so many conversations pretending like I was being compassionate and giving her space when I was really fighting to change her mind, like change her belief system. Like, why don't you just agree with me? And I realized I was really fighting for her approval, because if my mom approved of me, it would mean that God approved of me. And so if you guys can hear it, like both of us have been trying to find our worth in each other's hands. We've been putting our self-worth in each other's hands, like demanding that the other change in order for us to feel worthy of God's love, which is pretty interesting, I think. And so a year ago, I kind of saw this and I saw an opportunity to like clean that up with my mom and apologize to my parents actually for how I'd been being with them. And I was like, Mom and Dad, I just want to let you know that I really haven't been giving you any space for you to have your opinion about my life. Like I've been needing you to change your opinion in order to make me feel good. And I just want to apologize to you for not giving you space to be any way with me. And I want you to know from now on that I'm going to give you all the space in the world to be any way that you want to be about my life, about my sexuality. You can be any way with me. And I want to let you know that I'm no longer going to be relating to your point of view as the truth anymore, but just a point of view. And I love you, and I'm never going away. I'm never going anywhere. And they really received that. They were really gracious about it. And in that moment, I felt like I kind of took my power back in my life, because my worthiness was no longer located in my mom's hands, her approval, her understanding, her getting it, but really over here with me. And so my mom and I are really on this journey, guys, of like practicing loving each other unconditionally, like choosing each other for everything that we are and everything that we're not. And it's still hard. Like we still fight, we still have conflicts, and we still get conditional all the time. And yeah, and my mom's amazing. She's the best mom on the planet. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. A message about, how we listen in our community to our first gen and second gen, how we listen, the kind of filters that we have about each other, and also what it means to really practice loving people, regardless if we understand them or not. And how can we own our own sense of worthiness in our lives. So yeah, I know that was a lot. Thank you for your listening. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should just take a moment to appreciate Sam and what he shared with us. I think is quite, yeah, something to think about. So thank you very much. Yeah, and I heard you you wrote some questions for us to reflect about. Maybe we could put it, yeah, okay, Alex Stacy put it in the chat. Maybe I can read it out loud for, yeah, just to know. Okay, so first one is, what filters do you have about first gen and second gen? Second, how has listening through your filters impacted your relationship with the other generation? 3, with whom in your life have you been wanting to change in order to make you feel more comfortable? What behaviors, beliefs, or ways of being have been challenging to accept? And then, standing in my own worthiness, what would it look like for me to practice unconditional love with this person? Yeah, I want to just say thank you again. And yeah, I hope that everyone can really think about what was said. Maybe when we all get in our breakout rooms, we can take a moment to, yeah, just think about what was said, and just, you know, if any thoughts come to your head, we can just start by, yeah, just reflecting. And yeah,
I hope, one thing.
Yep.
Thank you, Beatrice, for sharing the questions. Guys, I know this is like, I kind of like went there. I don't know. I can't tell what's over there with you all, like what was received or what, you know, what's going on. But I just wanted to offer an invitation, which was to like really look for yourself. Like it's an opportunity to really look like, what is my view? What is like, how do I see first gen? How do I see second gen? How does that impact my real life? So I just wanted to invite you just to like go for it. Like dive in, you know, really look for yourself. Yeah. Go ahead, Beatrice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that's quite helpful. And yeah, I think there's quite a lot of things that we can think about, and also like, I guess hearing about other people's perspectives can also like open your eyes about your own perspective. So yeah, I want to invite everyone to like try and dig deeper in the session, and I think, yeah, hopefully quite a lot of good things are going to come out. And this is just a start point as well. We can, you know, in the future we can always build up on it, and it's just like an opening door, right? Like for future thoughts. But yeah, so I think, should we open the rooms? And thank you, Sam, again. Yeah, I think we can go in our rooms. See you in like 30 minutes. Alex, 40 minutes. Bye.